Welcome back to Court TV. I'm Ted Rollins. We're covering the murder trial of Grant Amato. Last night, Amato was convicted of murdering his mother, father, and brother, all because they may have blown his cover as a rich gamer, which led to his relationship and led to the end of his relationship with his webcam girl, Sylvia, from Bulgaria. Amato was obsessed with her despite never having met her. On August 12th, this same jury will be back. They convicted him in the guilt phase, and now it will be up to these 12 individuals to make the ultimate decision. Should Grant Amato spend the rest of his life in prison, or should he be sent to death row in the state of Florida? Adama McKinnon and Holly Waltman are both criminal defense attorneys. They're here with me in studio. First of all, I want to get your reaction to the verdict and the time it took for this jury to come to a verdict. Did they get it right, Adama?
I think they got it right. 8 hours is enough time to sufficiently consider all of the elements and all of the testimony and evidence that were presented over the course of the trial, and I indeed think they got it right.
Holly, the defense argued that there wasn't any physical evidence, it was all circumstantial, and that there were certain things that weren't done in the investigation that should have been done. It was sloppy. Did the jury get it right?
I do think the jury got it right, and I think the defense put up what they could have put up. That is a very frequent technique that we see as trial attorneys, the state getting up saying they didn't prove it, and they didn't do it, and they had the resources and the time and the people that they could have done to investigate it properly, but we didn't have it.
In this case, time was not waived. So this crime took place, a triple murder takes place in the end of January of 2019, and boom, we're at the end of July when they come back with a verdict. That is very rare. The fact that this has happened so quickly, it's so raw for these victim family members. Where do you think, how important is Jason Amato in terms of the penalty phase, the jurors? To what extent do jurors take cues from family members in a death penalty phase? If I'm a juror and I know that the family member wants me to do this, I would think that that has a lot of weight.
Especially in a situation where we have not one, but 3 members of the same family that have been murdered. And so I think that the victim impact statements coming from family members will be very crucial to the sentencing phase of this case.
And you're looking at the man right there, Jason Amato. He testified twice during the guilt phase of this trial. And afterwards, he was hugging prosecutors. He clearly has a very close relationship with the state attorney's office. He was involved with this case. He helped them with this case. But it doesn't necessarily mean he'll want to see his brother, his only surviving brother, Holly, die.
Yeah, I do think that his testimony in this phase coming up is going to be the most noteworthy and the most heavily weighed by the jury. I find it hard to see him coming on and asking the jury to also now take the life of his only remaining blood relative in his immediate family. In a way, I think that that would multiply the pain that he would be feeling, and I would be very shocked if that's what he comes and asks them to do.
Yeah, but you never know. I mean, because the time from the crime is so short, relatively speaking, basically 6 months. You know, he may have some rage. You know, and I totally agree with you. Maybe a year, 2 years down the line, that's the last thing he would want to do is see his last surviving brother die. But who knows where his head is? But it's going to be very important in a death case in the state of Florida, and in most cases, in most states that do have a death penalty. There's the two sides, and there are the aggravating and the mitigating factors. But in Florida, you can have a ton of aggravating factors. You can have all kinds of them proven beyond any level. But you have one juror who has one mitigating thought in his or her head, and it's life without parole. Given that, do you think the odds are that this jury will come back with a life recommendation?
That would be my guess. I think we're going to get a life without parole. I think it's important to look at where this case is being tried. It's in Florida, and despite Florida being in the South and maybe traditionally more conservative, Florida has a lot of transplant residents and people that move there for retirement from the North or maybe from the West and more, you know, liberal states. I think that that's going to be the verdict we get to, and I think that this jury, because they've been sequestered in a hotel, will get to it fast.
I disagree.
Oh.